jungle, so you can't necessarily counter pick him. And then an Eve pickup, and that is likely a placeholder. I don't think we're going to see Eve in this tournament quite yet. So it is very, very, very likely that we're going to have to remake this. One of these accounts probably does not have all the champions.
Yeah, we are days away from that patch, and the possibility of seeing Evelyn in competitive play might just come back. We're yet to see, but unfortunately, not yet. For now, she's going to still sit as a placeholder. I don't actually have any of those accounts on my friends list, so I can't message and find out what it is. We'll see in a second. As Iron Nubish grabs up Rumble. Rumble's been a big feature in the American top lane. I know at the moment it's really just been ignored as far as EU's concerned. I don't know how Wicked is practiced against him, but he's a good counter pick when it comes to Malphite. Having that double AP, Malphite being an armor tank, and just in the top lane, armor tank against AP doesn't fare too well. But there's always the possibility with this CLG lineup so far, Malphite could just maybe be put into the jungle if they really want to.
Yeah, they certainly could do that. I'm surprised that the European scene hasn't really picked up on, and I'm saying that and I'm making bunny ear quotation marks as I'm talking. Of course, no one can see that. I know Sushi was practicing him, and I know that I believe he was more popular over there to begin with on the European side, and only more recently have a lot of players on the American side picking up Rumble. So we are going to have quite a bit of global presence from Legion with that Nocturne ultimate, with that Twisted Fate ultimate. Rumble very strong top laner, but that bottom lane is going to have a lot of gank potential with the Blitzcrank hook and knockup, and the TF and Nocturne being able to sneak in there relatively easy. And the last pick going to be locked in is Ahri, so it looks like Froggen will be playing Ahri, and then we do have that last pick that will be Eve, and that will be swapped, so we don't know what it is quite yet. The game is being remade as I speak, and we will go forward presently. It looks like Eve is actually Maokai, so that will be a jungle Maokai, a top lane Malphite.
Okay. Eve is Maokai. Thank you, Chowster. I say with inverted commas, as I suspected it was Creepo. But we're ready, they're ready. I'll go back in. We'll let them go through those picks nicely.
So these bans and picks should be coming through very rapidly. It looks like they're just going to ban and pick random people, except I guess they're going through the list with A's, so they are careful enough to not ban any of the champions that were selected. Good job on that part. If you are just tuning in now, these are not the actual bans. Do not be concerned about that. And we are going forward with this match. Everyone will be picking relatively quick here, and yes, indeed, they are just going through, so that is good. Sign that everyone's runes and masteries are set up properly as well.
I really like Maokai against Rumble. Rumble puts that ultimate down, this is a big long straight line on top of it, but it can't move. Maokai just, okay, I'll put my ultimate on top of it, now it's doing reduced amount of damage. And when he wants to, he can pop it straight back out again, but there's other uses for it, it's just smooth. We'll get these last few picks in, as soon as Froggen gets that Ahri complete. And see where we can go.
Of course, I mentioned how they're being so rapid in selecting, and then they're like, wait a second, maybe we do have to change up our runes. Of course, they're playing on accounts they're not accustomed to, so changing up the runes and masteries, not too surprising. We will be having this going real soon. I like Maokai, of course, because he can reduce the damage of all those AoE ultimates, but in particular, also has that early game presence. Be interested in seeing if Froggen's ganks or rather Snoopy's ganks are going to be successful, whether they're going to focus on mid lane or top. Maokai tends to focus on mid lane more so in my mind. I don't know why I have this idea. It's probably because TSM used the Maokai and LeBlanc combination to great success for a while, where they would just have him go middle over and over again. So we'll see if that is a strategy, or if he's going to, pay equal attention to all the lanes.
Yeah, I've seen. He's an anti-caster. He's made to camp that mid lane. That's what he's for. That's where he should be. He's not allowed to camp the other lanes. No.
No. Has to kill the casters. Yes, certainly we do have all the picks once again. Will be Maokai in the jungle, Malphite top. Anivia was banned. I see there's a little bit of discussion in our chat room about that. Was banned before the the team even got into the Champion Select. Of course, we have 4 bands for this tournament. That'll be standard all throughout. So 8 bands in total, 100 champions, 8 bands. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. A lot of times I even want more bands than that. We'll see if Riot picks up relatively soon as well and allows more bands in the in general solo queue and in their competitions.
So there is an active game not found apparently, but thank you for that. There is our complete lineups locked in, switched where they need to go, because obviously everyone's picked their own champions this time around, and that means we can tell you exactly who is who as far as CLG.EU is concerned now. The Chowster account is definitely Creepoo, EU Jungle Smurf is Snoopy, Froggen on Big Fat LP, Yellow Pete playing on Pentalift, and Hotshot GG is Wicked. For today only, we have 4 games for them to come through, and I apologise now because I will end up getting some of them mixed up, and we'll call them by their NA names halfway through at least one of these games. Well,
it does happen. It does certainly happen. I'm thinking about just calling them by their champion names, just to try to avoid the confusion. It's not going to work. I will still be somewhat confused at some point, but it is going to be a very exciting game. Should be interesting. I don't recall CLG.EU having participated in tournaments over on the North American side, and I don't know how well they're going to fare with the ping. Obviously, as you mentioned, Snoopy plays over here, and that is actually his account, so he will have a slight advantage there. Certainly knows what he's going to be doing, and of course, last-hitting jungle creeps is not very hard either. There's normally not any challenge to the creeps, but when you're going after that Dragon and Baron buff, you do have to be spot on with your smites, or your teammates will get very, very upset with you. So hopefully he has a little bit of practice with that. Hopefully we don't see too many steals, or hopefully we do. Who knows? Whichever side you're rooting for. So we do have a bunch of you with us. Thank you for joining us. Going on 2,000. I'm sure we'll be getting some more very, very shortly. So I would like to hear what the general populace thinks. I wonder if we have a more present EU scene or North American scene. It is a little bit early on the North American side for a Saturday morning, so I wonder who is more present in our chat room and whether or not they think CLG.EU or Legion is going to win.
That's an interesting one. We'll keep it on the chat. We are 1 minute and 50 seconds away from this. I want to remind you right now, off the bat early on, we have competitions running all day long thanks to our sponsors over at Arcade and Kingston HyperX. Arcade are running a great competition which is really, really easy to use. Simply play League of Legends, and whenever you have a question, go and write it. Write it out on Arcade, ask the question on there. And if you know answers to some of the other questions you see, share your knowledge, let people know. Entering the contest is easy, but giving yourself a fighting chance of winning is a real challenge. Arcade is all about quality, helping you find the best way to win the match. So only great posts will be eligible for prizes. See below for tips. I will put that link exactly where that comes from in my Twitter, which is at CRSPanky, and I'll keep updates going on there all day long. So Tat, do you want to give people your Twitter? Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me at LOLSotere, SOTERE. And what about you, Panky? Where can we find you? Where are you going to be hiding besides in the Curse Gaming House?
Besides in the Curse Gaming House, wherever Curse decide to put me, because they are a lovely company. But I'm going to be at Warsaw in Poland in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm going to be at Gamescom as well in late July. So that's going to be good fun. Well,
oh, that should be good fun, but I meant mainly where can we find you online for those of us who aren't going to be traveling over into Europe anytime soon.
It is going to be Twitter mainly, at CRSPanky. That's where all the information will go. I might have some NASA's codes as well later on today, but that's where that is. I do have a Facebook, but I must admit I'm neglecting it slightly. So I'll try and push that up in the next couple of weeks. But we are 15 seconds away. We're going to put up this quick bumper image, and when we come back we should be in and on the load screen for our first game of the day, CLG.EU versus Legion. Where I patiently wait and don't push any buttons in the hope that I keep the screen in the right place.
Yeah, I was doing the exact same thing. I was just like waiting, and it seemed like it took longer to load than usual. My patience was definitely tested. Of course, if you hit anything while the spectator game is loading up, you will be shifted off into the bottom right-hand corner. And it looks like actually 143 ping across the board from CLG.EU. I'm not certain if that's a bug. That's very unusual to see. Ah, well, perhaps that's how it's going to be. So that's not as bad as I was actually thinking. I thought it was going to be closer to 180 or thereabouts, and we are loaded into the game. Although, are you loaded into the game properly?
I'm loaded in, but I have a pause. I also have the mumble overlay open, which I've disabled in the settings, which is, yeah, a bit confusing. So I'm going to try and play that for a second.
That's too bad. I'm actually loaded into the game, but yeah, it's taking a while for everything to load. I don't know if there is an interesting, problem with the spectator mode, but all the champions had not loaded. They are loading in now, and we are going to have our first ban of the day. Something is going wrong, but it's uncertain what is. Blaming America, Canada, GG, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm going to turn the chat off, because I'm not sure why that's on. But I have hidden that mumble overlay as small as I possibly can, so that will hopefully stay out of the way. So, we are here, and we are paused, ready and waiting for Game 1. CLG.EU versus LgN, a Leaguecraft ggClassic, brought to you by GG Chronicle, Arcade and Kingston HyperX, and, well, 35 minutes behind schedule. We will be underway very, very shortly. We have all our picks, all our bans, just waiting for the last couple of people to load in.
Yeah, so luckily for the next couple of games, we already have CLG.EU here. They are going to be participating in the next 4 games, so we're going to be sticking with them throughout this. And I imagine the rest of the issues will not be a problem. Of course, it was kind of hard just to get them all in here, all on different accounts. They actually apologized for it just in game. And everyone is ready to go. The pause has ended, and the teams are moving out as whole cohesive units. It looks like that LgN is going to be aggressive here. They do have Blitzcrank, and so that is certainly a good idea to go on the aggressive, have that hook, have a lot of potential for pulling people back, stunning them with TF, and then just bursting them down with the remaining champions.
Well, I had a slight overlay mishap, but it's set up. LgN are all waiting in this bottom bush. They've been spotted by CLG. The ping went down. And there we go, Yellow Pete backs out of there as soon as he sees him come forward. There's a gold card up on Twisted Fate, but there's no one in range to catch it. Nicely timed ward by Creepo, keeps him safe and keeps him out. Cruiser will plant their own one. Both teams have vision of that blue buff, and LgN have back to wait. Put a ping around to the far side. They're looking like they still want to catch out someone in this bottom lane.
Yeah, that's really interesting because they both saw that the other team had a ward there, so I really expected both of the teams to back off from that blue buff, but LgN perhaps is just going to outweigh them here, and we do kind of have a stereotypical and not unusual setting, the stereotypical setting from the caster's perspective where CLG.EU from the European side takes that, what I always have called the European defensive position, just guarding all their entrances, where the North American side actually moved in and was trying to invade. So LgN did wait for a while. They are sending 2 people back. Looks like they're sending their solos back, but they still have their bottom lane and their jungler just waiting patiently there, and it looks like they're going to head towards the blue buff. They certainly know that it is warded, and oh wow, so their wait might pay off here.
So you see the grab come out and a very quick burst blood onto Yellow Pete, as 2 flashes blown to chase onto Chalster, gets a second kill, and I've already slipped up because it was Creepo, but 2 really quick kills in that bottom lane for LgN, giving a great start, and they're going to steal the blue buff. CLG knew they were about there, they had the ward. Originally I thought Nubish may have blown that hook a little bit too early, but needless to say they had enough CC, they got their damage out onto Yellow Pete, and with the expense of 2 flashes, they picked up another kill. 1 for Graves, 1 to Nocturne.
1,000 gold lead. Yeah, 2.5 minutes, and that is pretty crazy. And it's just unusual how that turned out. It looked like it wasn't going to go well. We do see a gank coming up top, though.
Cruiser going really, really low with the red buff from Snoopy. Does follow in with the flash. The Q comes out from Wicked. Answers with another quick kill for CLG. They're not down and out yet.
Oh man, this is a very action-packed game already. 3 kills before the 3-minute mark, so very exciting. And I expect we'll see a lot of kills as the game progresses as well. Maokai, of course, good ganks. We just saw one going top lane. We thought he would focus on middle more. And we'd, of course, have TF and Nocturne in as well. So when they hit level 6, they open up a whole new realm of ganking potential.
Yeah, we've got that hook, which Nubius is threatening to get out onto the Yellow Pete. Again, he walks straight in, lands a good hook. Doesn't quite have the knock up though, as he's only level 1, but that's a lot of damage out. And Creeper's still a really low level. He doesn't have the heal quite yet to top Yellow Pete up as quick as he might need. You know, zoning him out, standing in that bush again, just out of vision. We've got Snoopy again in that top lane, waiting, bullying Cruiser.
Oh man, poor Cruiser getting camped up top lane. Certainly it is an effective strategy we see quite frequently. The junglers tend to go towards that top lane. Oh my goodness, and Wicked actually walking in front of those harpoon spears so they can't last hit. And it looks like Snoopy's actually going to back off now. And Lotta Mortis, as soon as Snoopy walks away, Lotta Mortis takes his place in that bush. So that bush is going to be camped all game long by one champion or another. We'll see if this is a successful gank here.
Do go in on Posher. Oh, the fear lands on a minion. Lotta Mortis, that might have been all it took for Wicked to get out to safety. He does. The red buff was not strong enough. The harpoons didn't quite land. I think even one of those hit a minion as well. But Lotta Mortis hasn't left just yet. Wicked's going to go face check into it to be sure. This time the fear's going to land on that one. We'll run him back towards the enemy tower. But Rumble's happy to sit under his tower and CS. Instead, he's taking a lot of damage just from Nocturne though. And I suspect he's going to leave the lane from that. So, while he didn't get a kill, that lane can now be frozen by Cruiser. And actually that worked out really nicely for Legion.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, Wicked's going to lose out on a lot of CS there. He has a big minion wave pushing, which means it's going to be able to kill a lot of Legion's minions on its own, so long as he doesn't let them get quite to the turret. Is losing some of those to the turret, or, you know, pushing it back towards the lane. So, certainly, it's a little unusual when you see the top laner not assisting the gank, but he knew what he was doing. He wants to make sure he gets that farm, make sure he gets a little bit ahead of that Malphite, because Malphite does have that dominating presence, and had that early kill to help him out in lane. Let's check here. Oh, I had my minion kills hidden for the moment, but actually middle lane we see Froggen doing a really good job in farming, 39 CS to 35 TF, and he's actually gone back, I believe, twice already. So he's been going back, you know, pretty frequently, been staying safe, been staying at high health, and has been farming really well in middle. So the thing not holding them back too much. 43 CS to 35, so that's 8 CS. That is pretty impressive. We do see a defensive ward, place it raised by probably in the middle, and now a little bit of aggression between the two in the middle, but they're going to head on back. So we're kind of into the farming phase of the game where the wards are up, the junglers have less opportunity to jump in. And one interesting thing I see is there isn't a ton of ward coverage in the bottom lane for either team.
No, and considering how Nocturne is, well, he's level 5, he's not going to be far off 6 after a couple more camps. And when you've got a Blitzcrank and a Grave lane, that's a lot of burst already. You just add a quick Paranoia into that, bot lane could be in trouble. But when you've got Soraka, you've got that infinite mana as far as Yellow Pete's concerned. He's comfortable enough with his Valkyrie, maybe he feels safe. And with the lane pushed up and more or less frozen where they are, you feel nice and safe with it.
Yeah, actually
does land a great grab right at max range, forces that Valkyrie back and under the tower to get the knock-up out, but a quick heal from Creepo minimises the damage as much as possible. Even with their nerf, the armor buff is still really strong for 3 seconds.
Yeah, it is incredibly strong, and Soraka still has incredible sustain, really annoying sustain. Unless you burst them down, they're going to be back at full life relatively quickly. We do see very aggressive positioning from Legion though. Might go for the hook again.
Does land the hook, actually. A great Valkyrie, actually baited out. The Ignite's ticked down, he will cleanse it off. Yellow Pete is going to have to base from that one. He's got the heal, yes, from Creepo, but he's got a long cooldown and he's already used it once in that fight. He can't rely on that to get him back to full health. So he's going to use the fountain instead. As Ari actually using her ult in onto the mid lane, really low on mana though. Not going to be able to finish Prolly off. Dart forward for a couple of extra little hits on the minions. Push that into the tower as Nocturne makes his way top. We do get the slow comes out from Cruiser the Bruiser. And Wicked, of course, uses Flash just to dodge that Q.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice because he also potentially could have used his ultimate to escape there. His ultimate does have a shorter cooldown than Flash by about half, but uses the Flash instead, maybe just so he can, stay aggressive. Maybe he didn't want to give up that damage potential. Maybe expect Snoopy to head on up there. So we can use that. We now see Nocturne heading middle, and Nocturne has been level 5 for a long time, it seems like, so he must be very, very close to ticking through his level here. Twisted Fate is level 7, and Nocturne does pick up his level 5, so suddenly bottom lane just got a lot more dangerous. Really, Legion was giving CLG.EU fits. A lot of good Blitzcrank pulls. They seem to be kind of manhandling that lane, force Corki back. But as far as farm goes, 12 ahead for Graves. That's a decently big deal this early on. I'm not sure if that's lag or just the aggressiveness of Blitzcrank that's really been forcing CLG.EU back and forcing him back to base there. But now that Nocturne is 6 and TF is 7, well, it'll be interesting to see where they're going to jump around the map. We do see some movement coming in from Prawley. He is heading towards top lane. It might be a dive up there.
Yeah, there is the teleport from TF. There's the ult comes in from Nocturne. Straight onto Wicked under the tower. Prawley does get knocked up. It's not going to be enough. Wicked will drop down. A couple of tower shots landed on some Legion players, but ultimately Wicked is dead. 3 kills to 1. The gold lead staying firmly with Legion, and they look like they want to take this tower down completely, which is a really early tower.
Yeah, and it's an interesting choice. A lot of teams will leave the tower there just so it'll deny the minion farm of the opposition, but it looks like they're not going to, take that. Instead, take the 150 gold and some experience from that tower, and it looks like they're going to keep on pushing. So perhaps this is their strategy. It certainly makes sense if you have a TF, you have that advantage of being able to, put a lot of pressure on all the lanes at the same time. They do decide to back out, take a little bit of the jungle from CLG.EU, but they did get that early, those early 2 kills, which gave them a 1,000 gold lead, and now they're up to 2,200 gold lead. So they're certainly enforcing. Whoa! And down bottom, we do see a pull on Chowster, but that's Crefo.
Yeah, and he got grabbed, he got knocked up, but he managed to get his heal off in between the two, so he minimised the damage as best he could. Going to start chugging on those health potions with Yellow Pete in the bottom lane. Snoopy, he's picked up a really early Oracle, and he's had it now for the last couple of levels, which I can't help but feels hindered CLG, because it means he's played really, really passive, just wandered around the jungle clearing the wards and farming. It's only just level 6. Nocturne 7, and about to do his red buff, going to get him a good chunk into, or towards level 8. And Snoopy hasn't really made that much of an impact yet, apart from that first kill in the top lane. That's the only kill CLG have picked up.
Oh, and this is interesting. It looks like we have Malphite heading bottom, so Wicked coming bottom. I'm not sure if they're going to make Dragon an issue at this point. Of course, they do have that advantage from the Oracle, and so that is a good call on their part. They certainly can steal all the vision from Legion, and they kind of have their, they can do whatever they want with it. One thing is, though, Wicked did just walk into that ward, so he is spotted. Now they know that, the intention is to go after this dragon, and perhaps they just feel like they have a stronger team fight already, despite being 2,000 gold in the back. They do, of course, have the potential of a Malphite ultimate into some really good AoE damage from Ahri. But on the other side, you have, of course, really great positioning skills from TF and from Nocturne, and Rumble, of course, has that equalizer, which does a lot of damage, especially early on, surprising amounts of damage.
Wicked just hiding in the bush as the ward comes in, throws the Q out, throws the E out, and stays in the bush. Just happy with a bit of harass. We've got some good poke going down onto Graves in the bottom lane. He's only got Vamp Steps and no potions, so he's going to stay low for a little while. Needs to get some auto attacks off to heal up as CLG move in onto Dragon. They waited, they saw Cruiser the Bruiser on Rumble return to the top lane, and they immediately switch down and start the fight. Doesn't look like Legion really want to contest this at all. They've got no vision because of the oracles, and they're not even coming close.
Yeah, so I mean, previously we're like, oh, that's unfortunate he has that Oracle, it's not really giving them an advantage, but it did just give them a really large advantage. We're able to clear out the Dragon Pit, and Legion's like, well, we don't have an Oracle of our own, we don't want to keep just, sending down wards to feed essentially that Oracle purchase, and we don't really feel confident. They knew they had the lead, they're up 3-1, but I don't think they really felt confident in their team fight capabilities, because of course their team is really focused around jumping around the map, picking off people one at a time. So good idea for them to play to their strengths so far, not really engage in those team fights until they have a larger lead. We do see you know, I felt like Wicked was a little bit underleveled. Is 8, Rumble is actually only 8 as well, but they're actually only the same level as the junglers, or at least as Nocturne, and Nocturne does jump in on Maokai.
We do see him go in. The teleport comes out from Prolly, but he's got no mana and no card waiting. They wanted that Oracles, but they couldn't quite pick it up. Now there's a card. Snoopy walks straight into the bush to take it to the face. Gets his ult down as Wicked arrives. Gets a good knockup out, but Snoopy's going to go low. They do lose the Oracles. Cruiser's ticking down, but will flash into the mid lane. The Ignite's gone. He will drop down for a second kill. 1 kill apiece. Mortis is double buff. Needs to get out of there. Good flash away. Stun will go down to big for LP on Froggen. Prolly gets charmed back in towards the tower range. No mana though for Ari. Wicked still trying to do as best he can, as in the bot lane. Creepo drops down. A little bit confused. But we do see 1 kill apiece, but the Oracle went down for CLG, so Legion definitely come out on top of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, you know, an extra 400 gold that won't show up anywhere on the scoreboard, but it is essentially, you know, wasted. I mean, not wasted because he, of course, got the dragon from it, but it's not going to show up in that global gold anywhere up there, and it is essentially completely gone, kind of like wards, in the sense that, you know, once they've expired their usefulness or they're no longer on the map, you no longer have that advantage. We do see probably sticking around middle, pretty low life. Oh my goodness, does flash in and lands the Q, dodges the charm, and goes to town with auto attack. So really good play there, really good dodging. I was pretty impressed. I thought he might be getting himself over his head, but knew exactly what he was doing, jumping in there with very, very low life, dodging that charm, which would have spelled the end of him, and picking up another kill for Legion. So Legion's looking really good. 2,000 golden lead, which isn't a ton, especially considering they are 4 kills up. It seems like it should be a little bit more than that, but it seems like at this point they are having control of every single one of their lanes. They've taken that Oracle off of Maokai, and Nocturne is certainly pretty strong running about there. He's a little bit ahead in the jungle, higher level, and has picked up his own Oracle now. So now they're going to kind of shift the game, and now they'll have the little advantage of that map presence. Being able to clear those wards, and we'll see if they actually decide to contest the next dragon that comes up. As I said last time, I don't feel like they thought they had a strong enough team fight. Oh my goodness, Snoopy is getting caught out in the middle. Is he going to fall down?
Takes that fear in the backside. The Q does land as an Oracle's up on Mortis this time. The stun goes out, even though he gets his ult down to the damage reduction. Not going to be enough. Prolly on a killing spree. And with bot lane again, Malphite's down here, but we already see Yellow P dropping down. Demulu on Graves a little bit out of position. Nubish is low himself. We get the teleport that comes in from Prolly. Creepo's going to drop for the double kill. Wicked still down here. Does land the Q out. Needs to back away there because Nocturne comes down with his ult. Prolly gets a good stun off again. Wicked trying to get under the tower. The fear helps, but not enough. And another 300 gold goes to Nocturne. 10 kills to 2. Legion looking dominating.
Yeah, they're looking very good there, and it looked like there was a little bit of hesitancy from Wicked. It was, you know, it was essentially a 2-on-2, but he knew that the ultimates were going to come in. He knew that the ultimates were up. He was rightfully afraid of said ultimates, but then he decided to go back in regardless and did pay for it with his life, unfortunately. So Legion looking very, very strong. Certainly that combination of Twisted Fate and Nocturne, so incredibly dominant, able to jump around, did a great job there. And really, they were able to pick up a kill on Snoopy, who might have kind of misstepped, overstayed his welcome in middle, because they didn't have to waste either of their ultimates, didn't really have to waste either of their summoners to pick up that kill. And the other thing that's really been going in Legion's favor is a lot of these fears from a lot of Mortis have been sending CLG.EU back towards their, back towards Legion's side, or directly to the side. It hasn't really been sending them straight forward, as sometimes they do. And I know Riot actually likes taking away a lot of kind of the random factors in the game, but certainly fears from Fiddle and Nocturne can change things up. We do see another gank coming in on middle.
Yeah, Wicked strolls out of that one without too much issue to worry about. They knew bot lane was on their way up as well, as that had been pinged from the bottom lane. Creepo and Yellow P help Snoopy with a little bit in the jungle. We've got Froggen decided to take on the top lane now. They're having a bit of a better time against Cruiser. That range and the poke helping out a little bit more. They do have, however, Prolly hiding in the wings of the mid lane. Are they going to go in for the top lane? There's no tower here. Charm does go down onto Cruiser. The Ignite comes down to Froggen. He will, away. Stun goes down from Prolly. Anyway, Cruiser looks to be safe, but big for LP. Froggen on Ari is not so much. It takes another stun. He's got no mana. The heal comes out from Soraka. Actually, is he safe? Now that Snoopy's arrived with a red buff, needs to dodge the cards. Flashes away from that one right on the end of it. And Wicked comes up just to make sure. Froggen, wow, skin of his teeth, makes it out of there. And
Yeah, that
no
wish
deaths.
saved him initially, and then that flash to get away from that final wild